Hi, I'm Ben Schaefer from Team EXin.
I'm Aaron William.
Hi, I'm Leanne Lance.
Hi there, my name is Josh and I'm part of Team EXin.
Hi, I'm Tom Warnicky.
Hi guys, my name's Mark.
Occurred when a loan assessment was going to run past the required deadline. I tried to convince the client to switch to an alternative lender. However, after a lot of pushback, I entered my default routine of becoming conciliatory and acquiescent. I ended up agreeing to a much harder and more drawn-out strategy, continuing the original loan application while simultaneously pursuing a new lender, a much harder and more drawn-out strategy.
My critical incident occurred when I was finishing a long shift at work. I was leading my team through the last part of a stage setup and attempting to finish the last of the activities and prioritise some things over others in order to get home, as we'd been working for an extended period of time. One of my crew members ignored my instructions, so I confronted him and attempted to influence his decision and get him to change his actions. At the time, I thought I was being reasonable, but realised in hindsight I simply wasn't listening to him. Instead, repeating my position because I believed it to be fair, compassionate and logical. Eventually, he challenged me, and my decision, to which I shut down, that's my default routine, which meant I was ineffective in the situation and I wasn't able to control the incident.
Well, my critical incident occurred when I challenged my ex-boss regarding his direction to seek input from one of my ex-colleagues, Jerry. Having worked with Jerry in the past, I knew his capabilities and believed that the issue was beyond his area of competence. Well, this triggered my so-called default routine per needed Jerry of not being able to listen and be responsive to the feedback. As a result, my boss moved the project off me and gave it to someone else. Bit of a drama.
My critical incident occurred in a staff training session in the office. One of the staff members abruptly left the meeting, put it down to my default routine that when I'm nervous and anxious, I ignore the feelings and thoughts of others around me.
My critical incident occurred with an aggravated client. My default routine is to try to control and manipulate the situation to avoid active engagement. Therefore, there is no space for the other person and no credulous listening. My goal is a subtle shutdown. The feedback was that I hadn't clarified the incident. The impact of this was for me to look closer at it. I realised I wasn't being completely honest. The feedback made me reflect on my self-delusion, my emotional intelligence, and how I was using avoidance to mask a lack of empathy.
Hi guys, my name's Mark. My critical incident occurred when I had visited one of my regional located stores, and upon entering the store, I'd realised that my communication skills had not been clear enough when I'm giving her prior direction. Since I do very rarely see this store and this manager, as much as I would see my locally located stores, I would usually just give her the same leadership style and feedback that I do with my Sydney team. But seeing I don't have the opportunity to check in with this manager like I would normally do, I found myself going into my default routine of fixing any issues I may see myself without going through the right channel of mentoring and coaching in the moment, like I should have to prevent this from happening in the future.
Hey there, Josh here. Just wanted to quickly explain the process that we went through to get our group assignment together for Assessment 4. Each individual answered each question relating to Assessment 4. We then delegated a question to each member that was summarised on behalf of the team and collated into a video format. My role in this was to edit and format the video and put it all together. So you won't see me presenting a video in relation to a question, but my responses have been collated and worked in amongst everyone else's. Thanks. Enjoy.
We shared our critical incident and identified default routine from the reflection to REA with our fellow small learning group members to seek appropriate feedback. The group actively participated in the information sharing and feedback process. We also agreed to share our before videos as part of Assessment 2 so we could all seek and provide feedback to each other via individual emails or via collaborative sessions. The feedback often provided different or new ways of working and enabled us to expand our management repertoire as well as explore alternate ways of dealing with the default routines and circuit breakers. Post the feedback received, we incorporated the feedback within our after videos. A few of the examples of positive impacts per the feedback of small learning group EXin on individual artifacts include one of the members incorporated the circuit breaker of looking at its forge to inhibit default retain. In other instances, the member incorporated the idea of circuit breaker to offer options as proposed solutions. The members incorporated the relevant feedback within their assessment 2 submissions, which demonstrated the result of collaborative working per Pedler collaborative working activity and teamwork on the fly per Edmondson via virtual teaming per Pedler virtual revolution activity. For the assessment 4, now the group transformed from small learning group to the team as we had the common goal of high distinction in assessment 4 per Tyson T approaches to study groups. During this time, the feedback was more cohesive. For example, previously the feedback was provided as helping hand only and wasn't fully expected to be implemented. This time the feedback is more formal as we identify the roles and responsibilities of each team members and our expectations that the members will fulfill its roles and responsibility requirements. With the assessment 4 work in progress, it is likely that the transformed team will achieve its goal of HD thumbs up.
I think one of the amazing things about Team EXin is that 10 weeks ago we didn't know each other, and now we've collaborated together, ultimately towards a common goal, which is to do well in our MBA studies. And I think that's the makings of a really great team. There's a number of ways we've done this. One is by extensive use of a multitude of different technologies. As Anwar mentions, we've used things like email, we've used discussion boards, we've used Collaborate, we've used text message, we've used phone calls, all with different purposes. Despite work, life, family, whatever it might be, we're all busy people. So the fact that we're all able to collaborate and work together as a team is pretty remarkable. Even through disruption, as Ben noted, we're all managing to work as a team to keep each other afloat. One of those great things about our group is the diversity, as Mark mentions. We all come from different backgrounds, which means we all bring a unique insight. As Josh mentions, the Jung type has played a major influence in how we work together. And as he says, the extroverts are a little more vocal than the introverts, but this worked to a happy medium. Leanne also mentioned the feedback and encouragement and what I would term the unconditional positive regard that we had for each other, in that it was really important that everybody gets the best out of this experience and everyone's supported along their journey. Lastly, I think one of the great things about our team is the combination of Thomas Kilman conflict methods we use. Most of our team have a really wide variety of competing, avoiding, accommodating, collaborating, or compromising behaviours, which ultimately meant we always had someone in our group that was able to respond to the situation in the best possible way for the group. So what does this mean for Team EXin? Well, we've got an amazing array of Jung types in our group. We've got an amazing array of Thomas Kilman conflict model users in our group. We've all got different work-life balances, but ultimately we all found the time to devote to our MBA studies through a wide use of technology, all with an unconditional positive regard, amazing feedback and collaboration, and we all worked with our contemporaries to strive for the best possible success in our
Hi guys,
MBA
Mark
studies.
Mays here. I'll be answering the question today of how did we work together as a team and reflecting on that and what influence behaviours were apparent within the team. To be honest, most of the team members were quite open and honest about giving feedback, which was a really good sign. Josh and Tom and Anwar and Leanne definitely didn't hold back from helping each other out, which I felt was definitely an intricate part. Comparing each other's notes and feedback of this as well, a lot of influencing behaviours and definite standouts in organising and also just pretty much leadership styles that were quite different but also enjoyable as well. I would definitely say that there were definitely standouts for myself. I believe Josh was definitely a standout in the leadership title, followed closely by Tom. Emma and Ben were definitely exactly the same, just a little bit quieter, but their feedback was definitely warranted and valuable at the same time. Leanne obviously was just very, very informative over emails, just like myself. So it was a very, very collaborative effort by all team members involved. And we definitely took on board everyone's work-life balances as well, which was quite important because we are quite busy. So working together as a team and behaviours, I think we definitely gelled well. Definite standouts. I believe everyone did their part, was a great asset to the team. So thank you.
EXin leadership was conferred by a mandate to lead. Our style was democratic and participative. We had distributed functions throughout the team. On Blake and Motan's managerial grid, Team EXin lies closer to the team style, which is high in concern for people and production. Our motto was no EXin member left behind. Leadership manifested itself in a collaborative style. Each week's Collaborate session, date, agenda and leader was decided by the team. Our mutual goal of high performance was achieved with listening, questioning and full engagement.
Feedback was delivered through a combination of emails and online collaboration sessions. All team members were very respectful when delivering and receiving feedback, especially when done via email. It can be very easy to give the wrong impression with emails, something that is much easier to avoid when discussing a topic face-to-face. A lot of feedback was delivered as polite but to the point suggestions, such as, "Have you thought of trying A?" or "Have you considered doing B?" Early in our collaboration, this was almost misread as people not giving critical feedback in order to be polite. However, as we continued to get to know each other, we understood that this was just our way of working together, and that critical feedback does not have to come across in a negative way. As mentioned by Forsyth, the quality of groupness or solidarity is partly determined by group cohesion, which I believe was one of the EXin's best qualities. Every member was treated equally, with no individual's feedback, questions or queries going unanswered. We used the feedback as a team to ensure that everyone was on the right path forward. As we were working as a virtual team rather than a group of individuals, I believe that we were definitely able to exploit the power of positive feedback, which, as mentioned by Katzenbach, is a great way to build team performance. Overall, I think the feedback was delivered and received very well.